Hi guys, this is Debbie with Debbie J's Crafting Corner. Today I'm playing with another kit from another stamp set in the card kit of the month from Not Too Shabby. This one is the Cozy Forest Friends, and I'm going to stamp out a little scene down here, and then I'm going to color that up with my Spectrum Noir markers. First, I'm starting off with my going to stamp this out with some VersaFine Clair in Noir. I didn't add enough ink that time. Okay, let's give that another shot. Okay. I think this little bunny is just so cute. And I think I want to have a second character there too. So let's go with the little bear and have the bear kind of looking off to the side towards our bunny. So I'm going to go ahead and mask off my sentiment with just a couple of pieces of washi tape. And then I'm going to put my little bear down. And the reason I'm doing that is I don't really want the bear to be covering up the sentiment, so it's going to be a little bit behind it. So we're going to go like that. And again, stamping down with some VersaFine Clair. Then I decided I want another tree, so I mask off the other side of the sentiment. I'm going to place this tree in the background, just like I did the first, or rather, just like I did the little bear. So I'm going to add a little bit of VersaFine Clair. And stamp that out. And then we'll just remove the washi. Now, one thing I have decided is I don't really like that sharp line that goes into our bear and into our tree. So I'm going to use a black pen to add a border around my sentiment. Okay, it's not perfect, but I'm going to say that that is close enough. And next I'm going to just color up my little images. And for that, I'm just using some of my Spectrum Noir markers. Now, it is winter time, so first things first, you should probably put down a little bit of snow. For that, I'm just going to use one of my gray markers. I think I'm going to go with... This one is ice gray, so let me just check and see what color it is. So that is pretty light. So that I think is going to work nicely. And starting off with our little trees. And just add a little bit of ground back there behind them. And carrying it off to the edges here. And then do the same kind of thing at the bottom of our little guys here too. And I think I want a little snowbank kind of in the middle there. Okay, so that is going to be good enough for that. Then I want to go with one of the light blues for our sky. And this one is the IB, so I believe that means ice blue, so that's what I'm going to say it is. I'm going to start with the lightest color and just add that back here behind our tree. And I can always trim up what I don't want, and I think that'll look pretty good. Luckily, this marker is one that I have recently refilled, so the ink is really nice and saturated. But to avoid getting any kind of streaking, you do want to go over it a couple of times just to make sure everything is nice and blended. And I like using the chisel nib for this kind of thing because it takes a lot less time than trying to do it all with the bullet nib. Only downside is sometimes you aren't able to stay completely within the lines unless you're very, very careful. I'm not really that worried about it, but I don't really want to get any blue in my bunny's ears because I haven't decided what color I want to go with for the bunny. It's either going to be a white bunny with a little bit of gray for shadow and shading, or it's going to be a brown bunny, and I don't think that'll look too good with this blue-green. The trees, on the other hand, the leaf part of the tree could be green. I'm thinking probably a fallish color of green, as if an evergreen. Actually, a winter one. But anyway, I haven't decided what color for the leaves I'm going to go with. I may decide to keep it mostly white, as in snow, but I haven't completely made up my mind yet. So a little bit of the blue-green on those is not really going to be a big deal. Okay. Just adding a little bit more ink for saturation and to give it a consistent color. And I think I do want to go with kind of a lightish green or maybe a brownish green. What I need is a scrub so I can test out a couple of colors and see what I think. This one is like a dusty green color. That might be too dark. That one is the DG3, and then I've got DG2. I think that's what I want to go with for these trees. Okay, so that one was the DG2, and I'm going to come back in with the DG3 and just give it a little bit of shape. And then blend this out with my DG3. I mean, sorry, DG2. And then because this this trunk didn't really turn out as dark as the other, I'm going in with that darkest green on both of them. All it's going to do is basically darken up that color a little bit so that the trunk looks more black than it did before. Okay. So to start off with, let's go with the cheeks. I like those little cheeks to be a little bit rosy, so I'm going to go in with my CR2. I had to add a little color to both the bear and the bunny. And I think I want to go with red for their scarves. So that's going to be my DR family. And I think I'm going to do... actually... It's probably a better idea if I wait till the end to do the reds, because reds tend to bleed on everything. So that means that it should go last so that my other colors don't try to pull the red into those. And I do kind of want to go with some light browns for both my bunny and my bear. So we'll start off with the MB1. And this is going to be for my bear's muzzle. And it looks like I need to go through all of my markers at some point and make sure that they've got enough ink in them. Looks like some of these do need some re-inking, and I haven't done that in a bit. Okay, and Gonna hold off on the MB1 while I put the shadowing for my bunny. So my bunny, I'm gonna use the shadowing is gonna be MB2, which is a little darker. And just come around the edges here, around his underneath his chin and around the sides of his face. Basically all the way around the circle. And then going up into his ears a little bit. And it looks like these guys both look like they're kind of started in the snow a little bit. That's why you can't see any feet. So I'm going to do the same kind of thing around the rest of his body, coming in a little bit with this medium brown. Just flicking a little bit, going across the bottom, and then of course around his scarf. And I may come back in a little bit darker with that too. Haven't decided yet. So now I'm going to come back in with the MB1 and pull those colors out a little bit. And to me, this looks like it's pretty much the same. That means that I probably am going to need to go with my MB3 and do a second layer of shadow. Okay, so I'm going to just come in a little bit from the sides on this one, and then I'll do the whole thing over, because what that'll do is this part I'm putting down now will actually be a little bit darker when I do a second layer of it, and the inside part of the face will be a little lighter, and I think that'll be cute. Okay, so let's go ahead and add a little bit of that darker color to the ears. And again around the face. Just that little light line there is going to make a big difference. And then underneath his scarf to give it a little bit of shadow. Coming in a little bit from the sides. There we go. And now we're going to come back in with the MB2 a little bit to pull that out just a little bit further. And whenever I am doing that blending of that line, I like to do a little circle motion with my marker. I find that it tends to blur the edge, blur that harsh edge a little bit better than just going straight. Okay, and then we'll come back in with that lighter color. It's this one. This one is my MB1. And just blend the last of it out. And this is going to have that, this is basically going to give us our base color, our lightest color throughout. Okay. Around the nose, I am trying not to hit that little white shine spot. I mean, if you do, that's okay. You can go back in with a marker if you want. I'm sorry, a white gel pen with you if you want to add that little shine spot back, but it's already there, so I might as well use it, right? Okay, let's blend that little bit out there. Okay, and our little bunny is pretty much done. I think I do want to add a little bit of brown, this light brown to his tail. Okay, now we're going to do basically the same kind of thing over here on our bear. Except I don't want to use any of the MB1 because we've already done that for the muzzle. I want the muzzle to be the lightest. So I'm going to come in with the MB3 and go ahead and do those darker bits. And I'm going to add a little bit of shadow from underneath that sign. Okay, and then we can go down for his little body. And come back in with the MB2 and pull everything out. Basically going over the same area I just did, but then also coming a bit further out. Go ahead and get all the white space colored. And then if I decide that it's still not quite dark enough, I can always come back in with the MB3 again. You can always add a little bit more color if it's not quite as dark as you want. Now in this case, I do think I want a little bit darker. So you see, just adding an extra layer gives you that little extra depth that you're looking for. And then just evening up some of the tone. Okay. I do have one more that is darker, but I think it might be too dark. Yeah, to me that looks a little bit too dark, but I can. Let's see if I can pick up a little bit of that darker color with my next marker, make it just a touch darker. I think that's going to work better. I want a little bit of the edges to be a little darker than what I've got so far. Not a lot. So I'm basically just transferring a little bit of that ink onto my lighter marker. Okay, so I'm going to say that that is done. Because I can mess around with this pretty much all day. Okay, so now all we've got left to do are our little scarves. I think this is going to be so cute. So I've got this dark, scary dark DR7. That's almost like a brownish color. But that's going to be real good for those shadows. So I'm going to do a very, very light line for all of those places that I want it. And then I can come back in with my DR2. And that is going to give us the lightness that we need. And then the combination is going to give that little bit of dimension. And I think I am going to come back in with a little bit more of the dark. I think I'm going to just do a second coat of both. Okay, so little bunny's all done. Let's get the bear. Oh, I also noticed that I did not get his belly, so I still need to get that part done as well. Come back in with this red. And then we'll go back over all of these one more time. And then for his belly, I'm going to do that same light MB1 that we used for his muzzle. I'm going to use that also for his little belly. Okay, so now that that is all colored up, just need to trim it down and get it ready to go on a card base. So I trimmed this panel down to about 3 3/4 by 5. Is it by 5? Yes, 3 3/4 by 5. And to make that red pop a little bit more, I'm going to put it on a red panel. And I'm not worried about it not being exact, because I'm going to trim that down a little bit too. I'm going to trim it down to about 1/8 of an inch bigger than my card panel. And the way I'm going to do that, it's going to give us just that little sliver of red, is by lining up the edge of my colored panel, like the card that I just did, with the edge of my paper trimmer and then trimming off the red. So that gives us that little tiny line there. I'm going to do that on all 4 sides. And the way I lined it up, I basically just run my fingernail and have it just kind of catch on the edge and line those both up with that ridge there. You do what works for you, but this has been a way for me to give a little pop to the edge of a card base and give this little tiny sliver of a map. So now I'll put some adhesive on the back, and then I can place this one down onto my card base. There we go. And that card is pretty much done. As a final touch, I think I'm going to add a few little hearts. This is just some table scatter I got from Target a couple of years ago. And I'm just going to add a few little hearts, just because they're cute. And let's add a couple more over here by this little guy too. So you can't really go wrong with some hearts. Okay, and that is going to finish up this card today. You guys have a wonderful day. Remember, if I can make it, you can too. And check out this video over here to see another project where we're using some not too shabby shop products. Y'all have a great day, and I will talk to you soon. Bye, guys.